You think you're being a good man, respectful, kind, patient, but the truth? You've been trained to be simple, to play small, to give your power away in the name of being nice. And that's exactly why women lose interest, why people stop respecting you, why life keeps handing you the short end of every deal. See, nobody told you this. The world doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards strength, self-respect, and mystery. You've been told to be predictable, safe, and polite. But deep down, you know it's killing something inside you. That raw, masculine fire that once made you ambitious, bold, and unshakable. Let me be brutally honest. If you keep doing what I'm about to describe, you'll never be truly desired by a woman, respected by a man, or trusted by your own reflection. Because these 8 habits, these simple behaviors, are silently destroying your power. You apologize too quickly, you over-explain, you chase validation, you let comfort make you weak, you let rejection define your worth, you trade your authenticity for approval, you live reacting, not leading. And the worst part? You don't even realize it. A woman can feel when a man has lost his edge. His energy feels dull, predictable, uninspired. She doesn't need to say it. She just disconnects. Attraction isn't about looks, it's about presence. And when a man starts acting simple, his presence disappears. Being simple doesn't mean stupid. It means emotionally flat. It means your actions are driven by others' expectations, not your own conviction. And when you start living like that, people sense it. They start taking advantage. They start testing you, because life always tests those who don't stand in their truth. So, before we go deeper, ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly felt like a man in control? Not angry, not desperate, just steady, powerful, calm. If that memory feels distant, it's because you've been trained to shrink, to suppress that natural dominance, to trade your edge for acceptance. Let's start with the truth that burns the most. Women don't lose interest because you're too nice. They lose interest because you've become predictable. You've become emotionally simple. They can read you like a book, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who's easy to figure out. When every text you send, every move you make, every word you say screams certainty of outcome, there's no tension, no spark, no polarity. You've given her total emotional safety, but zero excitement. And here's the part most men never understand. Safety without challenge breeds boredom. When you always agree, when you rush to please, when you apologize for existing, she doesn't see kindness, she sees weakness. She feels you bending your identity to fit into her world instead of inviting her into yours. That's not leadership, that's submission dressed as care. A woman doesn't want a servant, she wants a presence. She wants a man whose silence speaks louder than flattery. Someone whose no means something. Someone whose time has value. When you make yourself too available, you silently tell her, "My world stops for you." And her subconscious answers back, "Then you're not a world worth living in." That's the first truth you were never meant to hear. Your availability is killing your attraction. Scarcity creates value, and not just in money, in energy. When you withhold your attention, when you stop explaining yourself, when you give only to those who truly earn it, you stop being simple. You become rare. You don't need to fake arrogance or act cold. You just need to reclaim your mystery, the kind that says, "I know my worth, and not everyone gets access." When a woman senses that you move on your own terms, she begins to pay attention. Her curiosity awakens. Her respect follows. The second truth is even harder to swallow. You've been told to communicate your feelings constantly, but oversharing destroys polarity. She doesn't want your emotional diary. She wants to feel your depth, not read your pages. Stop talking so much. Start showing more through energy, through action, through silence. Because silence is where real men speak the loudest. There's a reason women test men. And no, it's not because they enjoy drama. It's because they're wired to sense strength, to feel whether your calm is real or just an act you put on to impress her. Every time she pulls away, delays her reply, or throws a subtle challenge, she's not trying to hurt you, she's trying to see you. Most men fail these tests because they crumble under the weight of uncertainty. They chase, they overreact, they beg for clarity. But here's the truth. When she tests you, she's not asking for words. She's asking for proof. Proof that you can stand grounded even when things feel shaky. Proof that your confidence isn't borrowed from her attention. A woman wants to feel safe in your strength, not suffocated by your need for reassurance. The moment she realizes her emotions dictate your actions, attraction dies. Because what she truly craves is polarity, the magnetic pull between her chaos and your calm. And when your calm is genuine, she starts to trust your energy more than your promises. You want to dominate her mind. Stop reacting. When she pulls away, you don't chase. You hold your ground. When she goes silent, you don't panic. You let her miss your presence. When she throws attitude, you don't argue. You smile, stay composed, and walk away if needed. That's the psychological trick most men never master: emotional non-reactivity, the ability to remain steady in the middle of emotional storms. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about knowing that nothing she does can make you forget who you are. Because when a woman feels that your world doesn't revolve around her, but she still has to earn her place in it, she becomes addicted, addicted to your balance, addicted to your silence, addicted to your presence. Power isn't loud, it's not aggressive. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove himself because he already knows his worth. That kind of man doesn't chase validation, he attracts loyalty. So ask yourself, are you leading the emotional frame in your relationships, or are you letting her emotions lead you? The answer to that question decides whether you stay in her mind or disappear from it forever. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous traps every man falls into: the addiction to approval. It starts subtle. You start texting faster, agreeing more, softening your opinions just to keep her comfortable. You start performing instead of being. You think you're building connection, but what you're really doing is training her subconscious to lose respect for you. Every time you seek her validation, you're silently saying, "My sense of worth depends on how you see me." And the moment a woman feels that, she emotionally disconnects. She can't respect what she already controls. She might still talk to you, even smile at you, but deep down, the desire is gone, because desire cannot exist without uncertainty. See, the mind only obsesses over what it can't fully possess. And when you're constantly trying to prove your value, you've already told her she owns it. That's not love, that's submission. And submission kills attraction faster than betrayal ever could. What most men don't understand is that women don't want to lead emotionally. They don't want to feel like they're steering your life, your confidence, or your decisions. They want to feel your steadiness, to feel your world pulling them in. That's why the man who doesn't seek approval stands out. His energy is calm but firm. He's not rude, but he's unshakably himself. When she tests him, he doesn't react. When she compliments him, he doesn't melt. When she disagrees, he doesn't fold. That's not ego, that's integrity. And integrity is the foundation of male power. When you stop explaining yourself, people start wondering about you. When you stop needing attention, people start giving it. Because true masculine energy isn't loud, it's magnetic. It doesn't demand, it attracts. It doesn't chase, it draws in. Here's what no one told you: the less you try to impress, the more impressive you become. Because confidence isn't built on how much attention you get, it's built on how little you need it. So stop asking, "Does she like me?" Start asking, "Do I respect myself in this interaction?" Because when you raise your own standard, she feels it, she mirrors it, and that's when she begins to look at you not as an option, but as a man she doesn't want to lose. Because when a woman feels that your world doesn't revolve around her, but she still has to earn her place in it, she becomes addicted. Addicted to your balance, addicted to your silence, addicted to your presence. Power isn't loud, it's not aggressive. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove himself because he already knows his worth. That kind of man doesn't chase validation, he attracts loyalty. So ask yourself, are you leading the emotional frame in your relationships, or are you letting her emotions lead you? The answer to that question decides whether you stay in her mind or disappear from it forever. There's a moment every man faces, the moment he realizes she doesn't see him the same way anymore. Her texts slow down, her tone shifts, her eyes don't light up like they used to. You can feel her slipping away, and panic starts to take over. You begin overthinking, overgiving, overreaching. But that's exactly where most men destroy their chances, by letting fear replace power. See, fear makes you chase, it makes you perform. It turns you from a grounded man into an emotional servant. But here's the truth that hurts. Attraction doesn't fade because she found someone else. It fades because you lost yourself. You stopped being the man who had options, direction, and purpose. You started orbiting around her world instead of building your own. Women don't fall in love with men who need them. They fall for men who choose them without losing themselves. That's the difference between love and obsession. When you make her your center, you lose gravity. When you make purpose your center, you become the force that pulls everything toward you, including her. A woman feels it instantly when a man has direction, when his goals, his discipline, his ambition come before his emotions. That's not arrogance, that's structure. And feminine energy craves structure. It's what allows her to relax, to trust, to feel safe. But when a man becomes emotionally chaotic, constantly seeking reassurance, she starts to lead. And the moment she has to lead, attraction dies. You want to dominate her mind? Stop trying to win her. Start winning at yourself. The more fulfilled you are in your mission, the less desperate you become for validation. The less you chase, the more she wonders what's drawing your attention. That curiosity is where desire lives. A man who has purpose moves differently. He walks slower, speaks less, listens more. He doesn't rush to fill silence. He makes silence feel powerful. That's psychological dominance. That's presence. So remember this, the most magnetic man is not the loudest or the most charming. He's the one whose life already feels full, with or without her. Because when a woman feels that your happiness isn't up for negotiation, she'll do everything she can to be part of it. There's one truth every powerful man eventually learns. You can't control a woman's mind, but you can influence it by mastering your own. Because control is force, and force breeds resistance. Influence, however, is power. It comes from the energy you carry, the boundaries you enforce, and the calm that no emotion can shake. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop begging for clarity, something shifts. She starts wondering why she no longer feels in control. She starts replaying your words, missing your silence, craving your attention. That's the moment she begins to feel your absence more than your presence. And that's how you dominate the psychological space. Not through manipulation, not through games, but through inner gravity. The man who doesn't chase becomes the man who's chased. The man who doesn't seek validation becomes the one everyone wants validation from. Understand this. The male mind was never meant to live in emotional chaos. You were built to lead. Not by commanding others, but by mastering yourself. You're not meant to be emotionally numb. You're meant to be emotionally disciplined. There's a difference. One runs from feelings, the other channels them into power.